I'm really excited now to talk to you a little bit more in depth about how Prysm IO works and what the proprietary technology is that's running inside of the device. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about our innovative engineering and what makes this so unique. We have exclusive technology inside of the Prysm IO device. We have an AI algorithm that's channeling in all this knowledge that we know about Raman technology. We've been scanning with the S3 scanner, our biofotonic scanners, for over the last 20 years. So we have millions and millions of data points that we are now referencing and looking at as we develop this Prysm IO device and using that knowledge that we already have from the research that's been done. This is again unique and proprietary to Nu Skin and so fundamental in our development of the Prysm IO. Because of switching to some new technology, which we'll talk about in a second, we're able to make the scans much faster than the S3. We're currently scanning at 15 seconds per scan, so very easy to use, very quick. You don't need to sit for 30 seconds anymore, or even in the past, I think we were scanning at around a minute long in some of our past biophotonic scanners. So again, we're continually innovating and improving on our technology. The next item that makes it so fun and unique, and what I'm excited about as well, is that it actually fits in your pocket. A lot of you, I've heard stories about how you carried around the S3 scanners, and those are big and those are heavy. And so we are truly appreciative and we admire your work as you've carried those around. But luckily, you do not have to anymore. This now fits inside of your pocket, and we're able to do that because of how we are switching our technologies and using something that's more proprietary and more focused on the software side. Let's talk about what is actually working inside of the device that makes it so unique and what's measuring the carotenoids in your skin. The hyperspectral absorption is our technology that's powering the device, and this is really the hardware of our device. What we like to say is S3 had a lot of complex hardware and had not as complicated software, but Prysm IO has not as complicated hardware, but a little more complicated on the software side, and that's where we bring in all of our Raman technology and knowledge that we have. But here, as we focus on the hardware, hyperspectral absorption is where we use 5 LEDs inside of the Prysm IO device, and we flash them at thousands of times per second throughout the 15-second scan. So we're gathering around 200,000 measurements every 15-second scan. And while we do that, we have 2 photodiodes inside of the device. One is measuring the brightness of the lights on the way up into your skin, and the second photodiode is measuring the brightness of the lights on the way back down. Some of that light, when it flashes up into your skin, gets absorbed inside the skin, and the remaining gets reflected back down and measured by that photodiode. Hence why it's called hyperspectral absorption. We're measuring the difference in that light. Now you'll see on the screen, we have multiple different colors of LEDs that we're using inside the Prysm IO device, and you can see it as well as you scan. But these different colors have different purposes and different meanings. And so a few of those LEDs are looking at carotenoids specifically, while others are looking at biological markers that may interfere with your carotenoid score. And so we want to make sure that those are not taken into account as part of your Prysm score. But like I said, these flash really fast and really rapidly, and they help us get a tiny, tiny measurement from your skin. But we don't stop there. This is only part 1 of the technology. Parts 2 and 3 come from our Raman database and an AI model that we are using and continually improving. And all 3 of these components, hyperspectral absorption, the AI model, and the Raman technology, all come together for our spectral ray technology. And this is what runs in Prysm, spectral ray. And so the Raman technology that we have, the info that we know about Raman comes from our 20 million scans on our S3 device. And so again, we've been scanning for the last 20 years, and we have millions and millions of scans that we've been learning from. We know how different diets and lifestyles and different areas scan on the S3 device, and we've been looking at that data as we've been developing Prysm IO. And so that's been really foundational and fundamental as part of this development process. And really what makes our technology so unique. We have this Raman database and the knowledge of Raman that others don't. And we do factor this into our development for Prysm IO. What we've done is we then take our hyperspectral absorption measurements and what we know about Raman and how it scans from the S3 scanner, and we actually have put it through an AI model to create a unique and proprietary algorithm that converts those hyperspectral absorption measurements into a Prysm score. And this is what is proprietary and has a patent currently pending on as well, is this complete spectral ray technology. So as we mentioned before, the hyperspectral absorption is our hardware, but really the complex math and algorithms all come in from our AI algorithm and our knowledge of Raman technology, and that all runs in the software. So very complex, but because we're an IO device, we're able to update this and continually improve that model and improve those calculations and continue to become more and more precise and accurate as we gather more data. And so this is really exciting and innovative as we move forward with Prism.io. A lot of the times we get questions about how does it compare to the S3? How does the accuracy, do I still see improvements from our SES products or Prism certified products? And the answer is yes. We've done a very preliminary study using about 50 participants. We had them each take LifePak and measure them both on the S3 and the Prism.io device at weeks 4, 8, and 12. And what you can see on this graph is that at each time point when we measured, both the S3 score and the Prism.io score increased. But you'll notice they didn't increase at the exact same rate, right? Sometimes maybe it increased a little bit more on S3 and then the next week increased a little bit more on the Prism.io, but the trend is the same. And this shows that we are still measuring carotenoids just as we did with the S3. We are measuring them with the Prism.io device. And so when it comes to your S3 and your Prism.io scores, they may not be exactly the same, but they will continue to show an increase as you take our certified supplements, that the score is shown to increase. And so again, using that S3 and that biofotonic Raman technology that we've had from over the years, we're able to get this technology into a smaller form factor and still have the same results and the same improvements from taking supplements. One thing we want to make sure that we emphasize a lot with Prism.io is we want this experience to be so simple. We want it to be intuitive and just so easy to go and share. And so this is the model we really want to push and enforce with this device is, first, get to know your score. What is your score? Where are you on there? But then second, we don't just stop there and say, oh, that was your score. Good luck. Good for you to know. No, we take it to the next step and we say, actually, we have a portfolio of solutions and different products that you can use to help improve your score. And that's where we can then start to recommend products and get people on subscription, because this isn't a one-time solution. This is a journey, a process. You need to be consistent with your health goals and eating right and taking supplements. And so we have a variety of solutions that people can utilize to go and increase their score. And then lastly, while we're focusing on subscription and our products, this will help to create and promote customer retention and loyalty. Again, we have multiple solutions, and this is a process, and it's not just a one-time purchase, right? You want to maintain that healthy lifestyle and journey and continue to increase your score or stay at a high Prism score. So with that, hopefully you've had a chance, and this makes sense with the technology that we've walked through. Very unique opportunity, and we are so impressed with our teams of scientists and engineers who have all put this together to make such a unique and innovative product.